The gate was 3.55 million, sold out. We broke the record for largest gate ever at the Toyota Center. The attendance was 17,401. Giles and Krause won fight of the night, and Batista and Chaos won 50,000. Everybody won 50,000. Who's got the first question?
Dana, it ended up being a fantastic event, but of course, the discussion afterwards is all about the main event and the scoring.
Right.
And was it a good score? Was it a bad score? Can you give us your thoughts on how you scored it and just what you think about the result overall?
The scoring was all over the map. So Joe Silva, the former matchmaker here, had it a draw. Kevin Ioli hit me up. He had Jones 3-2. Going into the last round, I had Dominick Reyes 3-1 going into the last round. My kids are terrorizing me that the fix is in and how can this happen, Dad? Reyes won that fight. And the list goes on of people that are reaching out to me. So it's not like there's this landslide of people saying, you know, there was a robbery or whatever. People have it all over the place. But the reality is, who gives a shit? We're not judges. None of us are judges. The judges called the fight, and that's that. And as far as, you know, the judging and the reffing tonight, do I think it was perfect? I do not. I think that we need to do some work down here. You know, I think that Mark Ratner and Hunter Campbell, you know, have to work with these guys, and they don't do a lot of big fights down here. And we all know that these kids work so hard and sacrifice so much. Let's take Dominick Reyes and Jones out of the equation. If you're the first prelim of the night, you've worked so hard to get there. You know, you guys have heard me for 20 years talk about reffing and judging, and you know, it's never going to be perfect, but it has to be close, man. I mean, these kids work hard to get here, and you know what I mean.
You know, and I want to kind of ask you on that, because I know you said, hey, listen, you're too old to be bashing on these referees anymore, but everybody did seem to feel like the judging and the reffing all night was a concern. So what can you do? I mean, I know these guys regulate you, not the other way around. So, I mean, what can you do to try to maybe educate or improve?
Work with them. We can work with these guys, and, you know, first of all, the powers that be in the commission have to realize that there were mistakes made, and these things are going to happen. Nothing's perfect. No commission is perfect. No state is perfect, and it's something we have to work on. But in the Reyes fight, I mean, like I said, it was so all over the map. And then there's guys I talked to a few guys tonight that were like, you know, you can't run the last two rounds and take the title away from the champion. So you have people that think a lot of different ways on how they score a fight. But we're not judges. Yeah. You know.
Let me ask you specifically about Dominick. Coming in, you said this is a dangerous guy, that people don't even realize how dangerous he is. Probably showed that tonight. Talk about his career moving forward. I mean, is a rematch even an option for him? Do you feel like this was the type of performance where, you know, people will remember him now, and now this is a guy you can use? What do you think about Dom moving forward?
Yeah, so coming into this fight, my big thing was the only problem with this fight is the general public doesn't realize how dangerous this guy really is and what a huge threat he is to John Jones. You know, he was a 4.5-1 dog, which is crazy. There's no way that guy's a 4.5-1. You saw it tonight. I never talk about fights right after. First of all, you guys were in here. I was just backstage doing some interviews. John Jones walked by with his legs all wrapped in ice, and they carried Dominick Reyes by me. Like, guys were carrying him. So when you see that shit backstage, you know you just saw an incredible fight. And do I think that he deserves a rematch? Sure he does. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And last thing for me, Dan, let me ask you about John moving forward as well. I mean, being in a...
Well, here's the other thing. You say what you want about John Jones. John Jones wins fights.
Yeah.
We can bitch about the judge, but it's not like there's this landslide, you know, where everybody... Who thinks John Jones won the fight? Anybody in here? No. There's hands in here who think Jones won the fight. I've been hearing this all night. John Jones won the fight. It was a draw. Reyes won the fight. It's all over the map. So it all depends on the way that you judge a fight. And it doesn't fucking matter. We're not judges. So it was a badass fight. One thing I do know, both of these guys are tough as nails, man. The shots that both these guys took tonight to the body, legs, head, it was a phenomenal fight between two phenomenal athletes. Say what you want about John Jones. John Jones wins fights.
No question. Does it give you any pause, though? You know, he was talking about maybe moving up to heavyweight. I mean, obviously, that's been talked about for a long time. But tonight's performance, what does it think, you know, how does that factor into what he does moving forward? Does it take heavyweight off the table? Does it take certain things off? What do you think?
Let's not forget what I said going into this fight. Dominick Reyes was not a 4.5 to 1 dog. Dominick Reyes, tonight was the 4th time that he's made it out of the first round. He knocks people out in the first round. 9 people he knocked out in the 4th round. You know, so as you look at little things that both guys did in this fight, they both fought an unbelievable fight. They both made mistakes in this fight. And I think when they both go home and they start watching tape and they'll watch this fight over and over and over again, they're going to get back in the gym and they're going to work on things. If and when these two fight again, it'll be even better than tonight. So that's the positive out of what we saw here this evening. No matter what side of the fence you sit on who won.
Hey, Dan, over here to your left. So John obviously has been dominant for so long as a champion, and it seems like either you know guys are catching up to him, maybe some of the younger guys are coming up, or maybe he's getting a little bit older. Obviously, age is one thing that no one can fend off. How do you attribute this performance against Reyes? Was it more Reyes being very, very good, or maybe Jones maybe not being the same guy?
So what happens is when you take a guy like John Jones, right, and he's the GOAT, all the things he's accomplished, all the killers that he's beat, you set this expectation for John Jones, that John Jones should come out and destroy him and do this and that. John Jones isn't 25 years old anymore, okay? And John Jones is taking on these young killers. And, he finds a way to win these fights. I just think that the bar is set so high and you have such high expectations. Coming into this fight, in no way, shape, or form did I think that John Jones was going to walk through Dominick Reyes. And if you thought that, you don't know enough about fighting. Because there's no way. Dominick Reyes is the real deal. I knew it before, and I definitely know it now.
Is it in a sense a credit to Jones then in that case? That he was able to fend off a young contender. Also turn it on in those late rounds. He was.
And let's be honest. John Jones has not been good to himself outside of the octagon, okay? Normally, when you see a guy that's lived the life that John Jones has, they don't come back and do what John Jones was doing. This guy is a freak of nature in every way that you can be a freak of nature. I'm telling you, I was sitting there tonight, and I was listening to some of these body shots he got hit with, and the kicks, and the punches. Dominick Reyes would have knocked 100% of the people he fought out with some of the stuff he hit John Jones with tonight. And John Jones, not only did he walk through it, the one time that he got knocked down, he slipped. I thought that was a slip. I'd have to see it again, but I believed it was a slip at the time that it happened. And Reyes was hitting him with shots tonight, and John Jones was not walking backwards. He was walking forward, walking Reyes down. He's a bad boy, man.
Just want to ask quick about Valentina. She had that fight against Liz Carmouche, and people were saying a little bit of a lackluster fight, kind of a boring fight. Came out tonight, and she dominated, and she finished pretty violently on the ground. Were you impressed with that performance?
Absolutely. She's so awesome. She's such a professional and such a good human being on top of it. But at the end of the day, man, she's a gangster. That woman is an absolute gangster. When you got a gun tattooed on your hip, you are somebody not to be fucked with. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she's so impressive, and she looks so good tonight, and I look forward to seeing her next fight.
One more thing for me. Why was it so important for you guys to honor Kobe Bryant tonight?
What's the question?
Why was it so important for you guys to honor Kobe Bryant?
Well, this was our first event since it happened, and a lot of people probably don't know this, but Kobe Bryant was an investor in this company here, which is a sponsor of the UFC, and he was also an investor in the UFC. What's crazy is, you guys heard me talk about what an amazing year 2019 was for the company. Massive year for the company, 2019. So Kobe Bryant actually got a distribution the Wednesday before this happened. And he was so pumped and so excited. And basically he said what everybody says when they invest in something and it does really well. He's like, damn, I wish I invested more. But he was a friend of the company. He was a friend of the sport. And he was a good guy in every way that you can be a good guy. And, so I don't know. I hope I answered your question. Huh? Yeah, about yeah. No, he was pumped, man. He's bummed out that he didn't invest more money into the UFC, but, he did all right. He did pretty good. So, not only was this guy a great basketball player, he won an Oscar, he was an investor too, and he made some pretty good investments for an athlete. You know what I mean? They don't always make the best decisions with their money, but Kobe Bryant did.
So you spoke to him only a few days before the accident. Yeah. Did that trip you out a lot when you heard the news of what happened?
I literally couldn't believe it for an hour. And then once it really started pouring in, it was crazy. Yeah.
Thanks, Dana.
I had somebody who was a huge fan of his that, her husband was like the biggest Kobe Bryant fan, and Kobe was supposed to come in on Tuesday and sign a jersey for him. Yeah, on Tuesday. So.
Hey, Dana. Just a quick one back to the judges. I know some people said that Jones, you can see an argument for 3-2 Jones, but would you agree that 4-1 to Jones is not an acceptable scorecard?
Yeah. Insane.
Also, Derek Lewis tonight, he looked good. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of time he spent underneath Latifi, but he showed some high kicks, he showed flying knees. I just wanted to get your take on his performance.
Who's that?
Derek Lewis.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I knew when he walked out, the place was going to go crazy. This town loves him, and he came out to perform for his crowd tonight, man. He sure did. Yeah. Who in here ever thought they'd see Derek Lewis throw a flying knee? Not me. It's pretty cool.
And obviously your next event is Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. I just wanted to get a quick take. What was going through your mind when Yoel stood up yesterday at the press conference and sort of started marching over to Izzy?
So, many of you know this, but I have problems hearing. I don't hear well. I don't hear out of this ear at all, and I have a real loud ringing. So I have trouble hearing as it is. Then when you have an accent, like you, sir, I have trouble understanding the words.
I can tell.
Yeah, I have trouble understanding the words. So I have a lot of trouble hearing. So I couldn't tell if he was pissed off or if they were just talking or whatever. So I get nervous thinking, when they got up to shake each other's hands, then he's doing backflips. And yeah, I was completely, just trying to make sure these two didn't get in a fight.
Since he did that backflip and splits and all that, the reaction to it online has been like, oh my God. Now you've seen the reaction to that press conference. Any talk of it, or maybe Romero shouldn't have got the shot? Is that gone now? Are you sure this is the perfect fight to make right now?
Oh, listen, from day one, from when Adesanya wanted it, I have so much respect for the guy. Nobody wants to fight this guy, and you ask any of the fighters, interview the guys who have fought him. They say when they hit him, it hurts them. And this sounds weird, but if you touch this guy's like a piece of iron. It's the craziest thing ever. And Adesanya wants to fight him. How do you not respect it? I love it. And out of all the fights that we have lined up this year and fights that can be made off fights that are lined up this year, the fight that I am the most excited about this year is Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I'm so excited for this fight, man, and that's the co-main event. So it's going to be a very fun card.
Yeah, speaking of the card, and last one from me, tonight the full card was listed and there's no Jared Cannonier on there, and I know the Till fight is sort of maybe being worked on. Is Jared possibly still involved in that card, or is he off that card now?
I have no idea. Off the top of my head right here, right now, I don't know the answer to that question.
Would you use him as a backup in case Romero has weight issues like he has in the past?
Who, Till?
No, Cannonier.
Oh, Cannonier?
Or
yeah.
Till.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Cheers, Dana.
Thank you.
Dana right here. What was the conversation? It looked like you were in almost like a heated conversation with Dominic right after the decision was read, and you guys were going back and forth. Can you just tell us kind of that conversation, what you said to him and what he said?
I was just telling him, kid, you got nothing to be bummed out about. That was one hell of a fight, and you just put yourself in a really good position. Obviously it's so hard to talk to a kid that loses a fight like that. But that was an unbelievable performance. That's basically what we were talking about.
Did you
His
have
corner was asking me, come on, how'd you have that scored and whatever. And I'm like, guys, who gives a shit how I had it scored? It doesn't matter. I'm not a judge. And every time you go out there, and I said this tonight when Laura Sanko came back into my room and interviewed me, but, when these guys go out, Dominick Reyes is fighting John Jones, and John Jones is fighting Dominick Reyes, and they're both fighting the judges too. I don't know how many more times I can say it. It's just like, if you think these guys are incapable of judging a fight, then do everything in your power to take it out of their hands.
Talk a little bit about James Krause. Did you have a chance to talk to him after the fight yet? And
I did.
Just your thoughts and how that conversation went.
So he was super upset. He felt like he could have won that fight. And I said, you know what, kid, it doesn't matter. You're such a stud. I have so much respect for the fact that you came here to corner and you took this fight weight class up, didn't train, all those other. I said, but let's never do this again. I'm gonna write him a nice check, and and he won fight of the night. So financially, it worked out for him. But did you guys see him tonight? I mean, he's lumped up and he was in a dog fight. And I was saying, the end of the second round, when he was getting up off the canvas at the end of the second round, I said, I bet he wishes he was cornering right now. But I got nothing but respect for him, man. Thank you.
Dana right here. With Valentina being so dominant, is there any thought about having Amanda and her go for the third time so we get that trilogy?
Listen, our 135-pound champion, GOAT, women GOAT, Valentina Shevchenko at 125, right behind her. And our 115-pound champion, Weili Zhang, is nasty and badass and about to fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I think there's a lot of things you could do with the three of them, but I like the idea of them staying in their division right now and doing their thing. We'll see what happens in the future.
Are you tempted to put John in a super fight, either wherever happens with Izzy and Yoel or with Stipe or whoever, since he's basically cleared out the division?
Have they been back here yet?
No.
When you see him walk in here, and when you see Reyes walk in here, if they do, they might even have been transported. You don't even talk to them about fighting or think about fighting. What's next? You let these guys go home, be with their families, heal up, and we'll talk about that later.
Hey, you've been watching the sport way longer than me. Did Dominick Reyes look like a future champion to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dominick Reyes tonight looked like the future of the division. He looked damn good. And again, John Jones has these expectations on him because of who he is and what he's accomplished. John Jones went in against a very, very, very tough guy tonight. And John found a way to win. We good? Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Houston, man. What a cool city and cool people, and I love the culture and the attitude here and everything. It's awesome, man. Thank you very much, Houston. And I want to thank Tillman Fertitta and his whole crew for everything they did for us while we were here. Thanks.